Right, things are going pretty well in the garden at the moment. We're going to get a few of our vegetables in, ones we planted a few weeks ago. We've got some kale, some KX1, got a few cabbages. Not too pleased with the way the cabbages are growing. They've been in the wet, I think, and so some of them haven't germinated too well. So there's a lesson learned for me, not to put too much water on them. And then we've got the Romanesco cauliflowers. They're looking good little seedlings at the moment. Today is sunny, but we've got the gardener's worst enemy, at least as far as I'm concerned, the wind. Can't stand the wind. It blows everything everywhere, and I'm shaking, worried about the camera blowing over. So if I dive forward, that'll be me looking after the camera rather than anything else. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get these spread nicely apart in the ground that I've already put plenty of manure on. Brassicas love manure and they grow really well with it. Now, I'm not going to film the whole lot of me putting these in, but I'm going to give you a couple of tips about getting brassicas in the ground. Firstly, they got a really shallow root system. They don't like being potted on too much, so try and be gentle with them. But the one thing you've really got to do when you get them in the ground is find your space and really squash them in well, because they can suffer from a root rock where their roots don't really get a good enough bind into the soil, and you've got to really pack them in around like that so they got a nice tight hold in the ground. Alright, now these are kale that I'm going to be growing for cut and come again, so you can have them spread out a little bit. I'm going to give about, I don't know, 12 to 18 inches between the plants and see how it goes. Sometimes I put a little bit less than that in, but we'll see how that is. There we go. Alrighty. Pack it in around the manure. Still plenty of manure in the ground. Really give it a good squash down. So that looks like there's going to be 2 per row here, and then I'll do another 2 there, another 2 there, and I'll probably be able to get all of those in. So that should be good, and we see how that goes. A little bit of purslane there, that should be growing. Take that out. Alrighty. Good luck if you're going to be doing this today. Now what I'm going to be doing as well is I'm going to be covering them over with a big sheet of polythene there, because I've got chickens. Chickens like this stuff, and we've also got a good chance to shelter it all from any of the elements that we don't like, so I'll be covering that over as well. And we'll have a look and see how everything else is growing as well coming on. Might be able to get 3 in here. I'm not the most methodical of row planters. Generally eat it all before it's massive anyway, so that should be good. Try and be gentle with the plants when you're putting them in, at least with the roots. Don't pull too much on the stalks, don't put too much pressure on the leaves. Just really give them a good push down, and then firm around the root base of the roots. I should be able to get another one in over there as well. Alright, I'll do that one in a second. Let's get this one in here. And then in a few weeks, well, not even that, probably 2 or 3 weeks maybe, you can start taking the odd leaf off these plants and adding them to salads, or steaming them, or putting them in your stir fries, whatever you wish to do. This is KX1, like I said, and we'll see how it goes. It's a lovely colour, nice crinkly leaf. Now the old butterfly, you will see in this hot weather we've just had, that some of the butterflies are waking up, and if there's one thing a few butterflies like, it's they love kale, and they love broccoli, and they love cabbages. So you really got to make sure that they don't keep sight of that, and that's another reason why I've got the plastic down. So there we go, starting to look like we've got a bit of order there. We'll get that in. Happy growing. Yeah, the artichokes are coming on really well. Got a few of 6 or 7 of those. That's going to make a lot of artichokes later in the year. The edamame also coming up nicely, looking good. So that'll be later in the year as well. And we've also got plenty of broad beans coming through. So I'll be potting those up, putting them out into the garden also a little bit later on. So that's all looking very good. Okay, and one of the other things I've got coming on is some turnips, some little baby turnips you can see here. And I've just put in this little pot, little plastic container that I've had, filled it with a bit of compost. I'll thin those out soon once they start growing up a little bit, and you'll have some lovely roots as well. So turnips is a good idea to get some things going on now. And then the classic, the radishes. So these are Chinese radishes. They're going to get much larger than your standard French radish, and hopefully a little bit longer and deeper, so that'll be good. Added to some spicy food, or even adding to the kimchi that I like to make as well. So radishes, to Chinese, French or otherwise, they're always good to get going. So there's another idea for your April planting. And here's a little update on the lettuces. So I've got a few lettuce varieties coming on here. I put them in the cells just to protect them from the grubs and slugs and baddies that do like to eat my leafing salad vegetables. But if you can get them in these trays, these little cells, and then plant them out when they're a little larger, you'll have a much better chance at a good crop. So that's also something that's good to grow. And then something else we talked about, this is purslane. This needs thinning out and planting into its forever home, but that's looking really good. And then there's the watercress that we talked about growing in the earlier video, and that's coming on nicely, and that's going to be potted up as well soon. And if you've got some warmth, grow basil. I've got some small leaf basil, some purple basil, some Thai basil, flowering basil that is, and some more purple basil there, all coming on nicely. And I love basil, so looking forward to harvesting that when it's a little larger. But that does need it warm. So if you've got some warm space or some warm growing areas, think about bringing some basil on. That's all good.